I'm going to talk to you about how to plot a position on a chart. There are two ways to plot a position. I'm going to do the second way now. So what I've got in my little notepad is information that my waypoint is going to be a bearing and distance from a known position. So in my notepad I've written waypoint number 2, and it's a bearing of 048 degrees, 2.5 miles from Grumlan Head Light. And that's near Fitzroy. So I'm going to use RYA training chart number 3. So that's here. I need a dividers to work out the distance, and I need a Portland plotter to work out the bearing, and of course the pencil and the associated eraser, and of course a pencil pair if my pencil is not sharp. So let's have a closer look at the chart. So this time I'm being asked to plot waypoint number 2, and it's a bearing 048, 2.5 miles from Grumlan Head Light, which is near Port Fitzroy. So first of all, I look for Port Fitzroy, and it's here. And there's Grumlan Head, and that's a light because it's got the teardrop shape in magenta and the star underneath. So we need to go out about 048 degrees, and it's 2.5 miles. So first thing I do is I get my plotter, and I just dial in on this 48 degrees, or 048. So there's 047, 048. So that's 048 degrees. Now, that's the direction of my bearing. Think about the blue arrows when you're using this. And then we go to the second set of blue arrows, the two little blue ones. They should always point north. So once I've dialed it in, I don't touch the dial. I leave the dial alone. I only use the base plate of the plotter. And I line up the edge of my plotter, not the middle of my plotter. This is a common mistake. The edge of my plotter on that lighthouse. And I move it around until these grid lines on the center, on the dial part, without touching the dial, are aligned north, south, east, west. And I just use any of the lines underneath on the chart because they're always north, south, east, west. So that's looking pretty good. Just align it there, hold it there with my left hand, and then with my right hand, because I'm right-handed, just draw a nice line out. So that's 048 degrees. Now I have to come out on that 2.5 miles. So I take my my dividers, and I have to go out to the edge of the chart. So what I'll do here, so on the right hand side of the chart, I've got 40 minutes latitude, 41, 42. So I'm going 2.5 miles. So I just go 1 mile, 2 miles, 2.4, 2.5. Now a minute latitude, of course, is the same as 1 nautical mile. So I now have 2.5 minutes latitude, which is the same as 2.5 miles. So I go and have a look then, and I just plot that out there. I'll just hold it in place with my left hand while I put a tick with my right hand. And now I just draw a box around that and across through the box, and note it that's waypoint number 2. And that's my position plotted. So I'll just clean the lines out of it. Always keep a chart clean. So that's waypoint 2 plotted. So that's plotting the position on the small scale or large chart, which is RYA training chart number 3. But what if we want to get a more precise position? So for this case, I'm going to use RYA chart number 4, and that shows the port that we're looking at in much closer detail using a larger scale. So let's go and have a look at that. So I arrange my chart so that I can see the area that I'm working in. I've identified Grumlan Head. I dial in 048, which is dialed in from previous use. I put the plotter along my bearing, my point from the bearing, which is the lighthouse, and I move this around. So do you see this grid line here? So that matches the grid underneath the chart. So that's it, pretty good. I can twist it around till it's just right. And this needs a little bit of practice to get it right. So now there's the lighthouse, and just draw a line out there. So that's my 048 degree line, and I need to come out of that along 2.5 miles. Now this time the scale of the chart is different. So on the last chart, the scale was something like that, but I have to open out the dividers. And if you look at the right here, 1 mile, 2 miles, sorry, 1 mile, 2 miles, 2.5 miles. So there we go, 2.4, 2.5, So careful not to move the dividers, just place that down there. I'm going to switch to my left hand this time so you can see on the camera. So that's on Grumbling Head, and that's the intersection point there, and I just draw a cross on that, and that's my waypoint. So waypoint number 2, and there we go. And if I want, I can clean the chart, or I might want to leave that bearing in for information later on. But generally, anything you don't need, clean it off immediately, keep your chart clean. So that's how to plot a position on the chart. There are 2 methods. The one I've just shown you, which is bearing and distance. And there's another method, which there's another video on, is when you have a latitude and longitude. But as always, practice makes perfect. The easiest place to do this, of course, is like here on my kitchen table. But the reality is that you often have to do it on the chart table of a moving yacht or powerboat. So practice, and practice doing it quickly and accurately.